Good morning, Planet 417. We're here Monday morning with Roy Rickstrew, the disability guru. The times, they are a-changing and the regulations change with them. We're going to cover all of that right after this. Yeah, we're back for sure. Oh, we just hit the trigger a little too soon. That's okay, no problem. Thanks, Peter. First mistake ever.
There you
right there. So we're all good. But yeah, hey, so we were talking just before coming on. We got some new regs coming out.
Yeah, so Social Security has a couple different things that are kind of provisional approvals or quicker approvals that are out there. Mm-hmm. And this comes up from time to time. It's kind of been a long-standing policy there at Social Security. If they think that you're likely to be found disabled, they can provisionally approve you and grant you benefits for 6 months. On the flip side, if they're unsure, they think you may get approved, but you're not quite certain, then they can actually put a medical hold on your case and hold on to it for 6 months and basically do nothing. And this comes up from time to time. It frustrates the tar out of people.
Sure.
When they put a medical hold and they fold their hands and do nothing for 6 months.
Just a wait and see.
It is. It is. So, it's kind of like an old baseball analogy.
Sorry about that.
with the tie either going to the runner or not.
Yeah.
But the provisional has gotten a little more interesting this year in that it's 6 months, and they've added some things to that provisional approval or presumptive approval. And a couple of these are if you allege total deafness or if you're blind. Those both make a lot of sense. Of course, end-stage renal disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, those have been kind of long-standing. But they've also added Down syndrome, spinal cord injuries, amputation below the hip, Down syndrome, if I haven't already mentioned that, and then some of the early childhood markers not being met for young kids. HIV is on that list as well. So they've really expanded what it is they're able to provisionally or presumptively approve.
Quick question that came to mind. So it seemed, deafness, blindness are conditions that historically, it's not been an epidemic, but are subject to fudging, fraud. And so I guess my question would be, if someone came in and got a provisional approval based on deafness and came back, well, maybe not so much. What's the penalty for something like that? I mean, it's probably criminal.
Yeah, I mean, if you're absolutely fraudulent, it is. If they pay you when they shouldn't, they recoup it whenever you draw, at whatever point in your life you do. But yeah, I mean, if you make a fraudulent claim, it can be up to a felony, depending on how much money you take from the government.
Yeah, I guess that's right, yeah.
So in regards to the presumptive, it throws a lot of people for a loop, and you'll hear people out in the general public that'll say, hey, I was approved really, really fast, or I was approved for temporary disability.
Yeah.
There's really not a temporary disability, but it kind of looks like it when we talk about this presumptive approval for 6 months.
Sort of temporarily approved, not approved for temporary disability. It was a temporary approval. Yeah.
That's probably the most frequent question that I get is people calling in wanting to see if they can get temporary SSI, and that's what they're referring to is this presumptive eligibility criteria, but it's not temporary. Ultimately, you still have to be 100% disabled to draw out of the Social Security program.
It's kind of like the difference between being an assistant manager and assistant to the manager, or an assistant regional manager or assistant to the regional manager for those playing along at home. But, well, okay. Any last parting thoughts you want to get us here?
One thing that I would say is that, Social Security will pay you for 6 months. Doesn't mean they'll actually finish your claim. in 6 months.
Sure.
So even if you have one of these conditions, I think it still makes a lot of sense to hire somebody to help you with the
Absolutely.
program, because certainly if they pay you provisionally, you want to make sure you're able to keep those provisional funds,
Yeah.
but then also you want to be able to ultimately get approved as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's still a role for the representative, can still be a lot of help. Additionally, I can help to identify some of these things, point them out to Social Security, and advocate for them to put it in that criteria.
Yeah, there's just so much that a professional, be it representative, attorney, in other cases, just know beyond, sure, you can do things yourself. I can amputate my own toe. It's just probably not a great idea to do it that way. Somebody with some experience might be able to do a better job of that than I can. Hey, if you want to find out more about Roy and what he does, scan that QR code. It'll give you a little link on your phone. You can tap the link. It'll take you to where you can find more information, or give him a call. Phone number's on the screen, 417-812-6698, and he'll answer his phone.
Yeah, be back in the office here in about 20 minutes, and look forward to talking with you.
All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
I want to be your disability rep.